Hello, friends. In the news, mushroom poisonings are on the rise worldwide. Let's look into some reasons why this might be happening. Here's some headlines, recent headlines from Jen Christensen at CNN. From December, mushrooms' popularity is booming, but so are poisonings, experts warn. From Joe Whitworth at Food Safety News, France records record rise in mushroom poisoning in 2022. Another article from Joe Whitworth showing how mushroom poisonings have increased in China in 2023. And here's another story from the Canadian Broadcasting Company from last August. As mushroom foraging in Quebec grows, so do visits to the ER for poisonings. There's a lot of stories like this out there. In recent years, foraging for mushrooms has increased in popular culture, whether it be preppers, homesteaders, van lifers, biohackers, or other interested parties. More and more people are seeking out and consuming wild mushrooms. And as you can imagine, the COVID-19 pandemic dramatically expanded this practice. Many people working from home, isolating, quarantining, seeking isolated outdoor activities as opposed to the usual indoor social activities. Many more people were coming in contact with mushrooms and wondering if they could eat them or possibly consume them for medicinal purposes. Additionally, at least in this country, more and more people are eating mushrooms and more varieties of mushrooms than ever before. For decades, there was just one species of mushroom, fresh mushroom, available in the supermarkets here. Now there's as many as three, and some high-end markets may have as many as five, and even more dried ones available. So more people eating mushrooms means that more people might be poisoned, unfortunately. And as our knowledge of the health and medicinal benefits of mushrooms expands, so does the likelihood that people will be consuming them and unfortunately getting poisoned. Okay, so more people are foraging mushrooms, more people are eating foraged mushrooms, and more mushrooms in general. Um, Culinarily speaking, we do have morel mushroom season on the horizon for most of us here. So I thought I would share a couple stories about morel mushroom poisonings. They are a toxic mushroom. First from McKenna Madison Conveni at Food Poisoning News. Current update on morel mushroom outbreak, December 19th, 2023. The investigation into the dangerous morel mushroom outbreak at Dave's Sushi, one that began in late March or early April of 2023, is still ongoing. Thus far, 2 have been killed, 51 sickened, leaving authorities scrambling and working hard to identify the source of the toxin that has made these people ill. After some investigation, it was found that morel mushrooms served with many of the popular dishes at the restaurant was the culprit, although as to what exactly was in the mushrooms that made people ill remains elusive. Even after thorough testing, no heavy metals, pesticides, toxins, or pathogens were identified within the samples of the morel mushrooms taken from the restaurant. Unfortunately, this just goes to show how little we truly know about morel mushrooms and subsequently the threat they may pose to those who consume them. Morel mushrooms, they may be more dangerous than we thought. Uh, my first thought here is Dave's Sushi is an interesting name for a sushi restaurant, not the most confidence-inducing. Kind of like Fred's Bank. Would you put your money in Fred's Bank? I don't know, but that's besides the point. Apparently, Dave's Sushi was not thoroughly cooking these morel mushrooms, but rather just pouring a hot marinade over them prior to serving. Science isn't clear on what makes the morel toxic. It may contain gyrometrin, a chemical found in its cousin, the false morel mushroom. This breaks down into hydrazine in the body, a toxic chemical that is in some forms of rocket fuel and pesticides. So here's another article from Scientific American by Keely Larson. Morel mushrooms can be deadly. Food poisoning cases show a deadly food poisoning outbreak highlights how little we know about morel mushrooms. Mushroom-caused food poisonings in restaurant settings are rare. The Montana outbreak is believed to be the first in the U.S. related to morels, but they have happened infrequently abroad. In 2019, a morel food poisoning outbreak at a Michelin-starred restaurant in Spain sickened 30 customers. One woman who ate the morels died, but her death was determined to be from natural causes. Raw morels were served on a pasta salad in Vancouver, British Columbia in 2019 and poisoned 77 consumers, though none died. But yes, the morel mushroom is toxic and can be dangerous even at a Michelin-starred restaurant. So keep that in mind. So yeah, more people are foraging, eating more mushrooms. And the third reason why mushroom poisonings are on the rise is because of cell phones and cell phone apps. From Joe Whitworth at Food Safety News, French mushroom poisonings prompt warning. French authorities have warned about wild mushroom consumption after seeing a spike in poisoning cases. The peak this past year was in October when more than 1,000 cases were recorded from all poisonings. 30 people had used recognition applications on smartphones. This is not advised due to the high risk of error. Pick only specimens in good condition and take the entire mushroom to help with identification. Do not pick mushrooms near potentially polluted sites such as roadsides and landfills. And here from Alice Wright at the Daily Mail. Ohio man nearly dies after eating 4 poisonous mushrooms he foraged from his backyard with his Italian pasta and claims smartphone app plant identifier told him fungi was edible. William Hickman discovered some mushrooms while mowing the lawn of his Wyndham property last year. This was in Ohio. After consulting a plant identifier app which deemed them edible, Hickman ate 4 mushrooms, which turned out to be the poisonous destroying angel. The 55-year-old only recovered after receiving experimental antidote and extract from the milk thistle plant called silibinin. So these are examples of why you should never try to consume mushrooms identified from photographs or using cell phone apps. Here's a picture of William Hickman and his new tattoo, showing the destroying angel mushroom that nearly killed him, and the milk thistle that from which the antidote that saved his life was synthesized. Okay, this brings us to the 4th reason why mushroom poisonings are on the rise. The 4th reason being that the death cap mushroom is proliferating all over the world, expanding its territory. The death cap mushroom, scientifically named Amanita phalloides, is responsible for the majority of mushroom fatalities worldwide, with an estimated death rate of 10 to 30% for those who consume them, and the survivors often require liver transplants. This is due to the deadly amatoxins contained in the mushrooms. They're heat tolerant and they do not dissipate when cooked. Also, the death cap mushroom resembles some other edible mushrooms, such as the Caesar mushroom, the straw mushroom, and in its juvenile state, the puffball, as with William Hickman and his destroying angels. Also, the death cap is spreading all over the world. It's originally a species from Europe, but it has been spreading worldwide due to the transplant and transportation of trees, particularly chestnut trees. And it is spread into new territories all over the world as the mycelium was attached to the trees and transplanted. In fact, there's new subspecies of the death caps developing in different areas as they adapt to their new environments. So the more death caps out there, the more chance people will be poisoned by them. If you're interested in foraging for mushrooms or consuming wild mushrooms at all, it'd be wise to familiarize yourself with the death cap mushroom and any other fatally poisonous mushrooms in your area, such as the destroying angel or deadly gallerina. For example, here's a picture of the current distribution of the death cap mushroom in the United States. You can see how there are quite a few of them around. Lastly, the 5th reason why mushroom poisonings are on the rise is due to global warming and climate change. The world is experiencing warmer and wetter weather, generally speaking. And this just leads to more fruiting of mushrooms. The warmer and wetter it is, the more mushrooms there will be, which is a good thing in a lot of cases, but also would mean the more people will come in contact and consume poisonous mushrooms. So keep that in mind. I thought this was an important story. Not trying to be alarmist. In our country of 350 million people, only a handful of mushroom fatalities occur each year, but it is something to think about. So please keep yourself safe, and I'll see you next time on Mushroom Journeys.